So, hello. Transmission starting soon. Right. Okay, just quickly checking the stream quality because I don't know how the sound is working. Hello. I don't know how this. Yeah. Please bear with me 1 second. Still some setup things to do. How are you doing? All right. Had a good week. Can't read that one. Kurva. Okay. Let's see. So, sound seems to be good. You can hear me well, and I think the sound of the music could be a little bit too loud, but that's all right. Hey, great to see you. Thank you so much. So, we have quite something to do today, so I'm really happy that the setup worked very well at the beginning. So, yeah. As you maybe remembered, we have created last week some nice little Dart application where we had a chance to push it up to the server, and from there we could then work directly with it, with a server. Great stuff. But now we slowly need an app to also show how it works. And I thought, let's begin today simple and make some UI design work with Flutter, because I, enjoyed it a lot, and hey, it's after work, so I have to enjoy myself, right? You're watching from Sri Lanka. Very nice to see you. I was there a long time ago and it was amazing. I really enjoyed it. I was traveling by train to Ella. Perfect view up there. Amazing. Even, you are very welcome. Great to see you. Hey, Lucas. All right, so if you are the first time here on that stream, let me quickly give you an overview what we will do today. So usually this live streams work a little bit in collaboration with you. So that means I will develop something or I will work on something. Usually I learn something myself and you will hopefully also learn something. If you have questions, feel free to ask them at any time. I will go back and read them, and afterwards, we will try to answer them. Usually these streams not tend to work out as planned. That means usually we get distracted and jumping to a complete different topic, which is perfectly fine for these streams. Cool. You're most welcome, really. So these are how the streams work, and today what I want to do is like having a short Q&A session as always in the front. If you have something to share, like how was your week, what did you do, what were your most challenging thing, maybe something like that. After that we want to switch to a little bit more developer focused part where we want to implement something, and last time it was the server, as I mentioned, in Dart, and today I thought let's create an onboarding screen. For that we don't have any design or anything, so that means we go completely blank into it, and we would like to see where we can get different ideas for a design, maybe where we can even start without having a design at all, and let's see where we go from there. You saw probably in the description that I would like to have an onboarding screen, and we will discover what I mean with that. And that's the plan so far, so good. And I have to really increase the font size of the chat because I can't nearly read you. And that just tells me how blind I am and that I need glasses, better glasses. So, what do we see here? Hello from Tunisia. Well, welcome, Karim. Nice to see you. Can understand that, Ivan. I think a lot of people don't really watch lives, and I really have to step up my game again for video content, like normal content. But somehow with the child now at the moment, it's all getting a little bit more difficult. Which brings me to a part that I would like to have a talk again for Geekly, and let's see how this turns out. Great to see you, Obialor from Nigeria. Jena, great, perfect. Okay, so you like to have a tutorial for getX and Dio. Well, people who know my stream and watch my videos a lot, they probably know that I am not so fond of the whole idea of getX. The reason for it is just it's like a too huge package, so it has contained everything. And if I think about it, probably I should write in my blog about it, why I don't like it, and then can just share my views there. I think that would make the work a little bit easier. So now a lot of windows going up. Where is my chat gone now? No. Welcome, Minu. As always, right? When I start my stream, you start with food. From Senegal, hey, one question from me. Using the vanilla Flutter way for translations with L10, is there a way to change the local on runtime? It's a very good question. So you would like to have something like a translation over the air, right? It's a good question because I think you need to run the build runner for the default way of Flutter. So what I would say, so from my gut feeling, I would say no, it's not possible, but I could be completely wrong. But perfect question, and I think that's a perfect start to switch to getting somehow into the desktop mode, where you also can see something. And someone can maybe quickly search for it, because Flutter translation, and let's see what we find there. So you see that I know that Phrase, for example, they provide some kind of translation over the air support, but I'm not sure if the standard way, it's called Gen L10, right? Yeah. Gen L10N. Let's see. A lot of different parts. So where do we get the default here? Do they have something like over the air translation? No, OTA is the name, I think. No, also not. Okay, interesting. So no, I guess the standard way will not be easily possible to internationalize on the fly. And as I said, the main reason is because you have to build the languages. It creates like a class for it, and you have to provide that during build time. Let me quickly go look if I'm not mistaken or if there's anything that I should see. No, I think that's exactly it. But that brings me to a good point. If we are working on some, well, landing screen or onboarding screen, maybe internationalization could be included there. And before I forget that, I would like to write that down. And for that, we need a project. So let's open up a terminal. I have generated 5 languages. That's not the question. You can change the language of the app if you change the language of the device. Sure. But can you, for example, without building the whole app and send it to the Play Store, change the translation? I think that was more the question, or not? The local on runtime. Yeah. So, I mean, you can, of course, change the language, I think, without restarting the app, at least I guess. But yeah, or did I get it completely wrong? I'm sorry. I'm sure probably. If you change the language of the device, so you would like to have a language picker in the app, I think that shouldn't be a problem. Language picker, I think that should be easily possible, actually. Specifying the app supported language, loading and retrieving localizations. A change notifier for holding the language. Yeah, I think that should be possible. I think that, or I hope at least that should be possible, because else the app would look a bit weird, right? But I cannot answer that freely, so I think we have to test that out. Wait, give me a second. I think I have an example. Let me quickly look. I worked for Truffy, and Truffy have implemented a language selector, if I have that correctly in mind. So if we quickly check, it was Truffy, I think. Yep, the Truffy Association. And I believe they have a language picker. iOS, test, tools, lib. L10N. Yes, but I believe, where was it? I think we have to download that app in order to see if the language picker is still in place. Yeah, we can quickly do that. So let's go and open Android Studio. I hope everyone else is also interested, because from there we can then change and, as I said, creating the subtasks. So let's quickly, where can we see that? Import Android project. No. From VCS, get from version control. Here we go. So we clone the whole thing. And as you see, we don't see anything. Huh? Interesting. That's Studio Projects. Trophy Core. All right. So if you have never heard about Trophy, Trophy is an organization that is creating open source and more or less with volunteers together an application for local transport systems. So for example, for Germany, but also for Africa and or different countries in Africa and so on and so forth. And I think Trotro is the app that is released in Africa, for example. And so that is like the foundation, and you can build on top of it for different languages. And I don't know what's currently wrong with my Android Studio because it drives completely nuts here. Okay, I have to update everything. What? I was one week not on the computer and I have to update everything. It's always crazy. All right. But anyway, that will do in the background while we can quickly start the app and see what we get. ILS. So. Getting started. I hope we don't need something. No, I think it starts the example app, hopefully. Build test, readme. Hope the best. Hup, Aljon, nice to see you. Hello. It's currently a little bit lagging or buffering. I'm very sorry for that. The reason for that is probably because all that build stuff happening. I think all of that on my little Mac, that will put it a bit lower, to put it under pressure. So yeah, waiting. But in the meantime, I can maybe check on the website. If I find something, then I can show you there directly. So we have that L10N, and I think there was a selector for that. Do they have that under widgets? Custom scrollable, favorite switch, trophy drawer. I think in the trophy drawer it was inside. Yeah, you see localization. Trophy localization off, and I think that one is exactly what we search for. Inside of this trophy localization, this is the part where we change the local, I guess. And so we have a column with a text, and there is a text, interesting. But do we change it actually? That's a good point. Config custom translation get. Here we only get the translation. And do we change it somewhere? Draw a header, box decoration, list view. Menu items fold, trophy drawer. Language drop-down value, that sounds like that what we want to have, but where is it used? Not sure. just see when it's built. Running Xcode, that's good. Sorry, the stream is currently a little bit broken. I've installed a Markdown plugin manually by downloading the install file. Now Android Studio isn't starting anymore. Any ideas how to fix it? Probably you have to remove the... Yeah, probably you have to remove manually the plugin, which is not too heavy. I don't know if you have a Mac or a Windows device, but what you need is you have to search for the installation part. And if you look at, for example, Android Studio, where have I installed it? I think it's Studio, right? Just Studio. Where is it installed for me? Everything is broken. Sorry, I overdid it. We are coming back. Okay. Okay, memo to myself. Next time if I live stream, be prepared and download all the updates beforehand, before you start to show something. I'm very sorry for that. So it's still indexing and doing stuff, and I'm thinking this takes a lot of resources at the moment in the background. So let's check quickly the monitor. What is currently taking so much power? CPU full load OBS. It's the live stream actually. Interesting. Huh. Okay, I believe the last time that was better. Okay, anyway, I hope I'm back and I quickly check. At the end, you will need to find the location where you have installed your installation part. So for me, this is here in that area, library, application support, blah, blah, blah. And then inside of that folder, you will find the plugins folder, and there you can remove it. So let's search Windows, plugins, folder, IntelliJ. And probably you will find quickly something. If we go to the directory for install plugins in IntelliJ, there is probably also the part where you can install it manually. Preference qubit, yep, that could be. And then inside of that, but there you can also follow how the drop down works together with that qubit to change the local at the end. So if you found it already, let's quickly check the preference, or let's do that after I show the plugin part. So you have here remove plugin. Probably you cannot start it anymore, right? If you need to remove without launching IntelliJ, you can delete it manually from the plugin directory. So I guess this will be the solution for Hermann. Great stuff. Hope the best. And in the meantime, I hope that is now done slowly. Trivia, the block builder, which holds the current local. Probably the whole app getting rebuilt. Of course, it needs to be rebuilt, right? So absolutely, the preferences qubit. It's not even there. What is going on? I have no plugin for Dart. Restart IDE. Okay. Continue. Now installing quickly this one. Now going here and okay. restart, restart, terminate. So slowly we are coming to the start of the live stream. But you see, that is usually how it happens. So a lot of topics, a lot to discuss, and I think that's the best part. Absolutely, Slutty. I think that's exactly what you can do. Change notifier and provider is nothing else than the qubit, right, at the end. I think they even work together hand in hand. So you can use that however you want. But this is how it's done with qubits, and I think it's quite easy to understand. The only thing that happens whenever you change more or less the language, you re-render the whole widget tree once. And I think that's necessary because you need to change it for every translation part, right? So every text needs to be translated. Okay, so this is now trying to install everything. And so we have this qubit. And if you don't know how qubits work, you have usually your state, and this comes very close to the, I think, block pattern. And no, it's not block pattern. I mean the, was it provider and riverpod, like riverpod. And there you have then the different states inside, and there's the current localization we need, right? Is the local inside, local save language code. And then we emit the new language code. And with this emitter, we directly rebuild everything that is underneath of that block builder that relies on this preference qubit. And if this indexing happens, wow, it's so slow. But perfect. If that works for you, I'm happy because then I would close that project. It seems too large to like work correctly today. So, but what I would like to do is starting a new Flutter project. And because I hope that in the next couple of live streams, we can enhance on this app and we work and on that app and learn new things on hand, that I would like to do it a little bit more sophisticated, I want to say. So that means I would like to not only develop something that I would like to present to you in a very small scope, but work on that every stream more or less on top of it. And so what I will do, and the reason for that is, or why I'm doing this, is I would like to use the Good Venture CLI for that. Venture CLI. I don't know if you have seen that, but the Very Good CLI provides a very opinionated, but a very strong like surrounding for a Flutter app. So if you, for example, want to create a production app, I would recommend you to at least have a look in the Very Good CLI, just to understand what they have created everything and why they did it. Because this whole part, as I said, is very opinionated, but it provides you, for example, with things like multiple installations of your app via, how do you call it, flavors. It has a very interesting setup, and I really like the structure that it provides. Also, it is very strongly, you see that already, it's very strongly opinionated. That means you have block pattern, because they say block is the best part that you can use. They have a very strong testing setup. Logging is in place already. You have like the analysis package already in place. Internationalization is also directly supported. It's null safe. So a lot of good stuff. And therefore I can recommend that. And we want to take a look how we can create an app with this Very Good CLI. So first of all, we need to activate it. And thanks to Dart, what we can do is we can globally activate a package, in this case, the Very Good CLI. I have probably done that already, but I will do it again. So let's see, Dart pub global, activate the Very Good CLI. Check. So now it downloads all the dependencies. This is something like if you have worked already in the web frameworks, like using Node and install a global package, right? That's nothing else at the end. So, and now if we switch back to a package or a folder where we want to work in my case, it's usually the dev folder, then we can create here something. So, and what can we create? So we can use the Very Good CLI, very good, and then we can say create. And with that, we actually have done it. Now we just need a name for our app. So, do we have a cool name for today? Do you have some ideas what name we could use? Then, or better, do we know exactly what we want to do? I told the last time when we created the server that we could maybe create like a quiz or something. So maybe it would be a cool thing to create a quiz app. Then we can have like Flutter quizzes. Or another app idea would be maybe implementing something for Flutter Explained or showing the latest tweet of the day or something like that that has something to do with Flutter. I think all of that would be quite cool options that we could use. Okay, but to start easy, we just call it now, I don't know, maybe like our server nvubi. That was pretty cool, I think. So let's call it nvubi, I think. And with that, we create the nice little application. And if we run it, you can see it's generating our files that we need. And that doesn't do, it does the same thing like you would do with Flutter Create. But as I said, it's very opinionated, so it has already some smarts inside of it. And I will show you them today. So let's wait a second until everything installed. And by the way, I can tell you that nvubi are the names of our fellow community members that were last week here in the live stream. And if you have good ideas for an app that we should work on in the next couple of weeks, then please let me know. So, good. The Very Good company provides us also a very good start solution. So we could also copy that, have a look into it and start to developing it. As the Very Good Ventures company is I think they are a consultant company in America that provides solutions for Flutter and are quite famous in the Flutter space, I guess. Good. So after we have created that, let's have a look into the project itself. How does it look? For that, I open Android Studio quickly, or as quick as possible. So let's see, open. So we are in dev and I called it nvubi. Perfect. Come on. So, great stuff. Okay, the first thing we see is of course the README file that has already some parts inside, like coverage badge, that we have like styling. Automatically adds the MIT license, which is a little bit taken with carefulness, right? If you don't want to provide your things as MIT, you probably have to change the license model here. You get free flavors, and the best part is all of these flavors are directly selectable inside of your Android Studio. If you don't know what flavors are like a build method for your app, and you can pass in new values into the app. So depending on what you select here, you have development stage, production, and staging. And for each of them, you can change some properties. For example, you could say in development, all headers should be red, that you know that you are in development. In staging, it should be green. And in production, it should be whatever production is. So black, for example. And with these flavors, you also have possibilities to change API calls to a different thing. You can maybe implement some kind of dev tools that you can show just for your developers and things like that. So how do you start them from the command line is explained, how that all is starting, how you can run your tests. Coverage is already in place. Translations, as I said, good point, because Slutty was asking for it. So now we have L10N directly implemented, and we can see all of these parts are already delivered. And the best part is it's also explained, so you know how it works. But now let's have a look into the package quickly. So what do we have here? So we have the free main development part. So these are the free entries. And now things are getting interesting already. So if you look at that, we have now these 3 different files, and all of them point to a bootstrap method which then executes in a callback function the app. So if we jump to the bootstrap, we can see, okay, there happens some stuff like flutter error on error. So there is something configured. Here we would, for example, set up if we want to read something out of the local storage. So if we want to read something before we start the app, for example, if our user is logged in, if we want to check that against the local storage, we can do that here. We can also initialize things like dependency injection with getIt, or we can set up our first, how do you call it, blocks or something like that. All that can be happening in the bootstrap before, and now it's getting interesting, we run zoned guard. Which just means is we work with block, if you remember, and all of that has already set up like the block observer, app block observer, and these are automatic things that will, when something happens in your blocks, in the block pattern, it is like that you can directly see it in your terminal if something changed there. And then you will see the run app, and this is just waiting for the builder. And if you remember, the builder comes from here. Whew. Okay, that was quite a lot. And I know it's, if you have never seen that, it's really crazy what have been done there, but it gives you a clean structure of the whole part. And if you, let's say, work on that a couple of times, you will way easier understand exactly what happens here. And then what we can see is this app implements currently the counter example. So what does it mean? The app is inside of this builder, right? Which is started here. And if we check where the app lives, it lives actually here underneath of view. And now it's getting interesting again, because this here is like the separation, like view, repository API and thing. And then you have also this file. And this is like a whole abstraction where you just export the Dart file that you want to export. So you don't expose anything else from here. So also for the counter, which is like, if you think about domain-driven development, this one is our domain for the counter. So the only thing that is exported is this one, so the qubit and the counter page. And you can see we have the view, which contains the counter widgets at the end, and the qubit, which contains the state of the counter. Cool. So, and with that, you can really see how the app is structured, and you have already a lot of guardrails, I want to say, with which you can start implementing your app. And because it gives you so many things around it, you can see also VS Code has already some extensions that it recommends, and also launch options and things like that. So of course, this is a lot, and I know many people don't like too many tools. I can understand that, but I would recommend you to at least take a look and throw out what you don't need. But keep in mind, for bigger projects, especially if you work with a team, things like flavors are ridiculously amazing. Yeah, you will love them. Hey Ambresh, nice to see you. Welcome back. Hope you're feeling well and you had a great week. Good. All right, so now I would like to create a changelog MD. Oh, wait, changelog is maybe not the best name, but what I would do is adding like a to-do file or something, to-do.md. And the reason for that is I would like to collect things that we want to achieve today and then starting to implement them step by step. So we want to think first and after that do something, right? So because we don't know yet, or I have not made myself clear what kind of app we want to implement. Everyone is giving the counter example. Yeah, that's absolutely true. I think the reason for that is because Flutter started with it, and it's like everyone wants to copy that first, even though that it's the very lowest bar, I think, to implement something, but that's all right. Okay, so what we want to do is today, like what we can do it, this is our to-do list. And today we would like to create a landing screen or an onboarding screen. What do I mean with that? I would like that our users come to a page where they can select if they want to log in or if they want to register. at the end. And they should see maybe an animation or some part. I thought about an onboarding part where you can explain the users a little bit what they want to do with the app. So what I would like to have is like, yeah, let's say 2 buttons for login or sign in, 2 buttons for sign in and register. I had a quite interesting week, but I was in Munich and had to drive a lot of car, and I'm very disappointed at the German transport system again, because I checked how much I would pay to travel from my place to Munich and also back. And I think it was like 160 euros or something. It was super expensive. And then we decided to travel by car, and I was like driving for 8 hours or something. It was horrible. I hate driving. I'm really against cars. You're still learning Flutter, Edgar. Can imagine. It's quite, I think I would say I learn also still Flutter every day, because it's like, there is so much new stuff that comes in a new week or something. That's crazy. Cool. So that should be a basic navigation. And what we can do is maybe implement also Firebase and make some analytics. I think that would be also an interesting topic. So same here, navigation and Firebase analytics. We directly want to track our users, because why not? You know, it's actually not a good practice, and I would like to avoid that, but hey, we have it, so let's try it. And I think a lot of you are maybe interested in Firebase analytics. Cool. What else can we do? For a landing screen, we probably want to show a logo of some kind and some text. And I would like to have like how do you call that? Like an onboarding, swipeable onboarding view. Okay, we will check. And what we need also is a design, right? We don't have a design yet. So some kind of good implementation, something like that. Okay, so how can we do that? If I know now these things, what we can do is maybe just Googling for it. The easiest way is usually to Google, and if we add GitHub, usually we find also some cool implementations already. So if I say landing screen Flutter GitHub, welcome login sign-in page, okay. So you can see, pretty cool. If we check, it's from a YouTuber, fellow Abu Navar. Highly recommend that. Can maybe share the YouTube link already. If you are interested in him, can take a look. And also he created already something like that. And this looks quite amazing, right? And what we want to do is today just that first part here. Something like that, like login, sign in, and it looks quite interesting. And he created, or he used some SVGs to show and illustrate what he wants to do. So it seems like a chat app probably. So yeah, something like that. So we can have some information on how it is implemented. We could take a look how he did it. He created screens, login, sign in, welcome. Interesting. So there is a body part, components, interesting. So you see he made sized boxes, a lot with calculations in it. Okay, so he wanted to make it responsive even. Quite cool, honestly. This size is provided total height, exactly. So he can do some things that are pretty cool with it. Interesting. And what else can we see? Flying Meows, Flutter landing page. Wow, look at that. So also that looks pretty cool. And with that, you get like your first inspirations at the end without directly implementing something. Flutter beautiful login AI. Interesting, interesting. And now it's getting interesting and even more interesting, because if you have something like a license inside, like Apache 2.0, you could say, okay, this is for commercial use, modification, distribution, patent use, and private use. And it's not allowed to be used as a trademark, as liabilities and warranties. We can take that, and if we know that, we can work with that. And so, for example, this solution we could directly implement. So also here, a YouTube channel, can also share that one. And you see, with that, you get not only ideas on what you want to implement, you can even learn how it is implemented and improve your implementation at the end. Good, but I'm a bit, I don't want to copy someone or something. That's maybe the first thing I have to say. But what I'm really interested is, I hear that there is like a Firebase Flutter login, or is it registration page or something? I call it authentication page. I want to see what they have provided, because I think they have already created something pretty amazing. So using Firebase authentication, blah, blah, blah. I think they created already a whole page. How can we add custom clip path in this onboarding screen? Very good question. We can try that out. Let me quickly write that down that I don't forget that. So we want to have a look here to buttons, swipeable onboarding screen. And we could maybe also add some custom clip path to the onboarding screen. So if you never have, or if you don't know what a custom clip path is, or why you need it actually, let's see if I can open it quickly. So let's take this one. I think there we can see it. So if you see up here, for example, it's not very smart, or it is drawn, and you can cut. If this is a rectangle, you can cut it if you like you want. And this is mentioned with a custom clip path, for example. So, but I wanted to look at the Firebase part. So let's see. Firebase Flutter authentication screen, something like that. Flutter Fire. Ooh, sorry. Material Cupertino authentication. I thought they have a package for that now, something like that we can use directly out of the box actually. A lot of tutorials. Now I'm a bit confused. Persistent outstate. I think this is how we can implement it ourselves, but I thought there was a solution that we can directly use. So there's the out package, real-time remote, Crashlytics. Flutter Fire UI. Thank you so much, Gaveringo. Flutter Fire UI. I think that was it. I just read about it in the latest blog post, I think. And I would like to use that today, if this is something we can use. So, Flutter UI is a set of Flutter widgets and utilizing designs to help build, integrate, and interface for Flutter. Okay. Flutter UI is still in active development for sure. And here is a repository, so read it. Flutter Fire. Do we have here something? No. Widget catalog, authentication. Widget catalog, app sign-in button. Okay, they don't show how this looks, but they just write it so, but that will be maybe in the future. UI for out is a simple way to implement it. Authentication in your Flutter app. The library provides fully featured UI screens to drop into new or existing application along with lower level implementation, blah, blah, blah. Integrate your first screen, configure, build a custom UI, localization, theming, integrate, page not found. Great stuff. Great stuff. What is that? Ah, here. But it looks very similar. Sign-in screen, constructing a sign-in screen widget. Stream builder, okay. Firebase out, current user, snapshot, has data, sign-in screen. Ah, that's exactly what I wanted. Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. So I will share quickly the link also. Hup. And I would like to test that because, and if this is okay for you, I would like to install that quickly, even though that we don't need authentication maybe, and maybe it's not the right UI yet. But instead of creating our own login button or things like that, I would like to rely on this package heavily, because why should we implement it at the beginning? We maybe have no idea what actually will be the app. And first we have to provide some kind of user benefit before we ask him for too many information, right? So Outflow Builder is a widget that provides a simple way to wire built-in outflows in a widget tree. Okay. I'm just quickly go over all packages just to see how it's actually done. And then later we will take it step by step. I'm just curious at the moment. Interesting. And custom routing. Flutter Fire UI is capable. By default, it uses Navigator 1 when a screen needs to show a result. Navigator push. Out of the box and require no interval. You will need to override the default navigation actions to integrate with your routing. Very good. Which routing package do you use? That's maybe a good question for Twitter actually, because I think there are quite a lot at the moment. And I think if we would use the default router navigation 1, we have some problems with the web implementation, right? Because we don't see and we don't have control over the URL, if I have that right in mind. So first we define the root route that checks for authentication state and renders sign-in screen or profile screen. Interesting, okay. Triggers a sign-in via sign-in screen, no action, default occurs. Can I make that dark? Oh, look at that dark mode. Great stuff. That's the stuff. Okay, so we can look at the material app and then I would say this is absolutely default. The only interesting part is that we would pollute our material app directly with Firebase out instance stuff. But I think that's okay for the beginning. Then we have the push replacement. I think that's pure parts. Okay. Return sign-in key. Okay. Good. Storybook. Flutter UI. Is this still Firestore? Cool stuff. Okay. But that is also possible for login and logout. But now let's say you want to have inspiration for your custom created landing screen. What would you do then? So one option is you go to Dribble with 3B. And if you join there, you can see there are a lot of, continue quickly. There are a lot of, skip. There are a lot of different UI templates that you can take a look into, like, hey, for every kind of app, and you can take a look, aha, nice, this is how they have done it, and things like that. And then Dribble, you can get like design ideas on how you want to implement something. And you can even search for specific topics. For example, if you search for a banking app, you can get there a very good option. But Dribble, you have to log in, and usually it's used for designers to share their inspirations. As you see, I have a bit more. I have also Mobbin, and Mobbin is, on the other hand, it's also quite an interesting tool for something like that, because you can browse through different apps. So if I search, for example, for, let's say, WhatsApp, I think one of the most used apps on the world, and I have to log in again. But it's actually the same. Let me quickly do that. Let's see if I can log in. Great stuff. I am what I am at the moment. Let's say I'm an indie hacker. I think that sounds cool. So WhatsApp. don't want to upgrade. Okay, fair enough. But what you can see is how different bigger apps have made their their designs, and also which kind of colors they are using and which kind of landing screens they have. So for example, here we have also some kind of onboarding. You can see we have that graph on top, bigger font, and then you have like getting started, do that and that, explain it, join a community, level up, and things like that. And then you can see all these different screens more or less, and you can get an idea how they implement their UI UX at the end. And it's really a really fantastic page that provides you with all kind of information to help you implement your own custom UI. And what do we have else? I think that one was more for web design, if I'm right, if I'm not mistaken. Correct. So it's for latest modern web designs. And do they have inspirations for mobile app? Let's see. No, not really. It's just getting ideas for web design. So if you want to create a Flutter web part, then webdesign-inspiration.com is for you. Good. But now let's see if we can implement that Flutter Fire, or do we want to integrate first some kind of landing page and then say, well, let's go to login. Let me quickly think. How would I go further? Let's see what our to-dos say. So we want to have 2 buttons, show logos, swipeable onboarding view, and design. Okay, so I would say let's keep that Firebase stuff a little bit behind. Let's take a look there later into it. But now first start by creating a basic landing page. Okay, so how can we do that? So we don't need a counter, right? So all that stuff is probably obsolete. We don't need that. Here in this app part, we have the material app, which we probably need sooner or later to make our login part possible. Oh, also one thing, if we want to make that, of course, we probably need block pattern, block design, no, pattern Flutter, which brings us to the perfect block library.dev. Correct. And the cool thing about that is they provide examples, for example, things like tutorials for login and things. So, and here are everything with block implemented right now. So we could directly start with that tutorial and working through it. And they have all kinds of different tutorials like Firebase login also. So also that is part of it, and you can install packages. And what I really like about that page is that it is so well integrated in things like that good company part. So if you, for example, have questions regarding why block or the architecture, you can directly read through that with data layer, repository, business layer, and things like that, and get a direct understanding how everything works in their app at the end. And honestly, I took the time last week, and I was really reading these pages through to really understand how the block pattern wants you to implement these things. So you can see we have actually these representations where we have presentation logic, business logic, data logic, and then we have repositories for database calls and data providers for HTTP calls. And I really like this setup, as you know, me. So I really try to always do exactly that. And I really like that they have done that so well thoroughly and understandable. Okay, but now enough praisal of block. Let's get back into it. So we want to get rid of the counter. So let's do that. And maybe we can start our iPhone again with the development branch. And don't worry about the flavors. It doesn't matter if you are in development or any other part, because all of them will at the end start the app itself. The main development, main production, and main staging are all opening the same thing at the moment. So because we deleted the counter page, this is gone. That makes sense. So we return here null for now. And what we see is that this stuff is not working anymore. And now in our lib folder, we would like to change from app to something else. The landing page and so on is part of our authentication. So we will have here our landing screen, for example. So landing page.dart. Good. Landing screen is currently a stateless widget and probably will not have any kind of widget state. Good, getting that. And I'm lazy, so I will probably start with material. So let's import material for now. And let's see. And in the app view app part, we want to create that new landing page. Good, here's everything red. There's the counter import, we don't need that. This method landing page isn't defined for the type app. Trying correcting the name to the name existing method. I think I've done that. No? Perfect, now it works. Okay. So currently this is empty and it just contains a container, which is of course too less. But to make it easy, I think what we could do is creating a scaffold and then with an app bar, putting everything on top of it. But I don't really like that idea because what we will do is make it very look material. And if we think about how the, let's say in Dribble, just take one random onboarding screen that we saw. Which one could we take? Can I have to sign in, right? Can I change that? I think I have one account on Dribble, but I don't remember the email. Let me quickly check on Firefox. Maybe I've logged in there. So let's see. Dribble. So let's take that one. Perfect. Ha, here we go. So if I search, for example, onboarding, let's see what we get. Yes, today we are using block. So I think this is a lot of text here, but it's going into the right direction, I would say. I like that, honestly. It looks cool. So Greg Dulubach has a great part, and I think we try to not completely clone it, but some kind of like that. So we want to have like multiple screens on here. I'm dead, then I must not miss your stream. Go to bed, Minu. I know if it's late, it's very difficult. Enjoy your night. Ooh. No. Okay. But cool, if we take something like that and we want to have some kind of illustration on top, I like that he has this fine line on it. It's great. Flutter Block and Qubit are actually in the same package, which is quite interesting. So it depends on how heavy lifted we want to have Block. And also there, if you check Block versus things, also here are a lot of design decisions. Why Block and why Qubit? I think it's in architecture. Is it block to block? Why Block? I think they had a very good info why they use what. And I think you use Block when you, whenever you want to have something very good testable. And in Qubit, you have the benefit of lightweight implementation and can directly use it, but I don't see it anymore. Where was it? Was it naming? Don't know anymore. Qubit versus Block. Here we go. So Qubit advantages, simplicity, but yeah, now I get it again. Traceability, because you know exactly what caused the change of the state. So if something in the state changes with Block, you know exactly what has changed. So we will probably use a lot of qubits because I just like the simplicity. But from time to time, we also will implement a full Block. Let's see. Okay. So, but now we don't have any state at the moment. We don't have even to think about state. Fixing bugs, oh yeah, poor Mino. That's always exhausting. Can imagine. Okay, but now back, where was we? Where have we been? Dribble, right? So, oh no, I lost my design. That's not good. Onboarding, mobile, let's see. That's also nice. Oh, that's also a good one. Ah, now I know where it is. It's in Firefox. Okay, if I see something like that, and I see already with these onboarding parts and all that kind of stuff, I really like things like that. But of course, if I'm a lazy dev, so what I can do is I can check first, what can I find on pub.dev? There is also something like onboarding. And if we think about it, this looks quite something like that what we need. It's already integrated and it has single child container. What is it doing? Scroll controller, column, padding, some parts inside. Is there anything? Page model? Page model. It's quite a big example, honestly, but I think these are not so heavy lifted implemented, and I think we can implement them ourselves without a problem. Absolutely. Writing stuff is the best thing we can do to learn. So if you are now at the moment while you watch this stream, feel free to also implement something, right? It's not a problem. So onboarding page list, and inside of this onboarding page list, we have page models, 1, 2, 3. And then inside of here, skip button. This is just to show the buttons in its state, index. Okay, build method. So we have the scaffold and then onboarding, and inside of here we pass in some parts. Okay. Padding, main axis, padding. Custom indicator. This is just a visualization. But honestly, besides of that onboarding part with the list and on page change, there's not so much stuff implemented. Can I see the onboarding implementation? Because I believe it's quite easy implemented. So main.dart. So here we have all these stuff, create state, net drag. Okay. Oh no, there is already quite some logic inside. But honestly, I'm thinking about why not using something like swipeable or something like the page viewer, because Flutter has an own integrated page viewer. And I think to create some onboarding classes, I would take this page view. So where do we see that? Let's run it. Let's hope that it builds. First page. Is there not some kind of swipeable? Okay, quite not useful. But what we can see is actually that we have the possibility to switch between these different pages, and we just enter them as a list of widgets. Correct, Minu, very good option. Also, you learn a lot, right? If you take a look into how these packages are implemented, instead of directly jumping in and use the package, you can also read them. Obviously, if you are in a fast track and you want to just quickly implement something, always think about to just use packages, right? That's absolutely valid. As you see this one, for example, that comes very close to what we want, right? If we once more check out Dribble, that looks already quite the same, right? We have this indicator, we have some text, and I'm pretty sure we can optimize that. So I think we will use that actually. It looks quite neat. We have a big version, we have a lot of likes. Why you navigate to the files? Yeah, because the truth is in the code, I would say. So it's always important to see also how these maintainers work, because you never have to forget that in the worst case, you will be the maintainer, right? Because sooner or later, someone will give up and then they say, nope, that's your problem now. And then you have to think about, okay, do I want to maintain that, or want I replace all the things that are implemented with it? Good. Anyway, I will take that, I think. I like that. So we have a page view model, and I think in the background they also work with that, with the swipeable part. And we have here a skip button. Interesting. I think instead of having you get VS Code opened in browser, just hit dot. You mean here inside? Ooh. Ooh. Jeez, I forgot that GitHub has a lot of integration since new part. So if you press dot or something, you directly get the source code opened up in VS Code in web. Ay. Microsoft, you are killing me. Okay, so all of that, page decoration, things like that, position. No matter, I think we will, nope, not closing it. I want to go back. I think we will use that. So in this case, introduction screen, use another package dots indicator that I also create. Okay, I think these are this part here, and I like that because it has already animations in it. And as I said, let's say we are the worst developers in the world and we just want to very quickly implement something. Then to rely on packages is not a bad thing, right? So, introduction screen, simple implementation on done, when done button is pressed, okay. Let's see if we can combine that a little bit to make that ours. You implement it in your app that you can press dot and then it's opening up in the browser. You mean the onboarding part? I mean, this looks like a page view or at the end. Or have they done something crazy that I did not miss now? So let's see, this is just the import. And you said I should press dot, so let's do that. Lib source. We have models. Why do we have models? Position. Left, right, top, down. Okay. Page view model. You must provide either title. Okay, this is just for the info. Page decoration. Okay, because the pages need to look a certain way. And that could be a problem. Intro content, build. But how does this navigation stuff happen actually? Override, skip, freeze, next thematic. Page controller, page control. That looks like exactly what I said, right? So page controller. And this is probably animate to page. Now that sounds like a page controller, like a page view, right? Positioned, column, container, expanded, semantic, okay. Scaffold, stack, page view, here we go. Yep, tabs, exactly, cool. Okay, so what do you think? Shall we implement it ourselves or should we take a custom solution that is already created? Some thumbs up, some down, maybe some emojis in the chat. What do you think? Okay, I thought so. So knuckle up, let's see what we can do. Okay, in order to do that, what we need is, for example, our landing page. We know now that we want to have a page view implemented. So what we need is Flutter page view class. Let's take that one. And let's implement very quickly a very basic part. Self, Nikita, very good. Hey Abby, wow, a long time no see. It's like reinventing the wheel. Yeah, that's true. But I think that's okay. As long as we don't reinvent the wheel in that case. It sounds more like we do take code ownership, like we do it ourselves. We do it, you know. At least this is how I see it from time to time. So like page view, page controller. So we first need something that keeps our state. And I guess this page controller will do exactly that. Let's quickly see. I think we need a state. No, we can use a stateless widget for that. Okay. So we call it controller. And now we create a new page controller. Good. This page controller will keep track of which page is currently visible. Replace to var. Okay. Oh, perfect. So, and for example, we can set also an initial page so that we want to say, for example, the page number 3 should be visible first or something like that. But we keep it as default, so page 0 will be the first visible. Stiffle? What is stiffle? Stiffle? Stateful? Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, AB. The set state for indicator. Yep, I'm with you, but I would say when we start with the indicators, then we start also implementing the stateful widget. Because it could be that we say the indicator, but you are right. I think because all pages rely on the controller, we need to have the state inside, but the controller keeps the state and we modified it. Let's see. Let's see, in the worst case, it doesn't work immediately. So, and what we will do is returning a page view. And in this page view, what can we see? We have a controller. And this controller is the controller that we have above. And what do we have else? We have children. And these children that we pass into here now will be the different views that we can see. So what I can do is adding here a text widget, for example, like, yeah, what do we have here? Like hello 1, Chuck 2, and 3. So. And of course we have to const all of that and convert to single quotes. Fair enough. I learned Flutter again today, so that's fine. No, I didn't know that stiffle is something, but it's stateful, right? So just needed to look at that. And even if, what is the problem with that? Don't you like that I learned Flutter? Okay, so we have the page view. Will it work immediately? Let's see. So run the whole app. I think I really have to change the YouTube channel name, right? From Flutter Explained to Flutter Learning. It's the problem if you work the whole day with React Native, you know, then you get nuts and lose your skills in all the other parts. Yeah. So while this is starting, I can tell you maybe that I'm currently working on a lot of blog posts because I want to explain what tools I'm using in general, why I'm using that. Also, I'm working currently on one from the Heroku deployment from last week with all the learnings and troubleshootings. And yeah, I don't know why, but I'm really curious, or I'm really happy in writing blogs at the moment. Ha, new Max. Okay, Xcode is building. Wow, 50 seconds to build an app. Crazy. So, hello, but in very ugly. So, but we can swipe already. So, done. Job's done, actually. So, but you can see, we wanted to implement a whole package with all its boilerplate, with all its logic and whatever, just to allow this possibility, right? We just wanted to have it possible that I can switch through the different views here. So you see the benefit would be very small compared to what we have done now. Okay, but now what we can do is having a scaffold, right? I think that would be fine, calling this body. No, not extended body, so. And if we have a scaffold, now you can see that the hello world looks beautiful and we don't have red parts anymore. If you don't know what it's happened when I remove that again, like getting this back and remove it. So if you have never seen this, I call it red death or red text of death. This happens whenever you don't have any material widget surrounding the text. Because the text widget, if we jump into it and read through the documentation a little bit, we should quickly find out that we need some kind of material widget surrounding it. Can I see that? Did I lie? Maybe if I search for material. Design applicator, consider text button instead. No, this is for buttons. Not sure anymore where I can read it, but if we surround it with a material button, Actually, that should be like that. So it's getting more beautiful. So if you don't like to have a scaffold, which also again is a lot of boilerplate and things like that, and you want it minimalistic, you can just use the material widget here. Also, you can surround that with the material widget. I think that should do exactly the same part. So it looks beautiful having these things. And now we want to maybe center that, right? So center, center, and center. And with that, we have it also in the center of the screen. Okay, that works already pretty cool. The scaffold is like a white canvas board for an artist. So if you have it, then you can paint whatever you want to. And that will look much more beautiful. I would say the scaffold is like a template that you can use, right? Because the scaffold gives you a lot of options that are already, again, very, how do you call it? Opinionated from the Flutter team, because like, for example, the app bar is like a very common use case for a material app. But if you would like to create something ourselves like we did now, then it needs to be a bit different. Okay, but now we have like explanation text 1, or better, we have now here a widget. And what I would like to do is, if we have this part, I would like to have a file, a separate one, which just contains the steps, the different onboarding steps. Wait, I have to do that like this, steps.dart. Good. And inside of here, we want to create some widgets. So stateless, onboarding step 1. Yep. Import material in that case, clean it up. And now we want to have that actually 3 times. 2, 3. So this is 2, 2, and 3, and 3. Usually I would say per file you should contain exactly 1 class. So that would mean you would not be allowed to have 3 of these widgets inside of one own file. But for these steps, I think that's perfectly fine because, well, I don't want to create 3 files just to have these onboarding screens then running. So then we have onboarding step 2. And last but not least, onboarding step 3. Great stuff. And with that, we lost everything again. Hey Deepak, nice to see you. I got an email last week, I think, from a names friend of yours. So he had the same name. And he wrote underneath Deepak and he wanted my help. I was like, Deepak is writing me via email? Okay. Is it the same one? But I think it is not. After speaking with him. Cool. So we have this onboarding step 1 and we have a typo. Let's add that. Hi Max, I'm very good. Thank you. I'm really happy to be back on the live streams, which I'm way too seldom at the moment. Why cannot pass to a single onboarding widget? Why can't you pass contents to a single onboarding widget? That's a good point. I could also do that. But then I have still the problem that everything is inside the very one widget and I get like a very big widget. And I would like to lock these files at like 200 lines of code. So if I would do and pass in the content inside of it. But you're right. Maybe they look exactly the same. Very good, AD. That's a very good idea. Sorry, had to think about it, but you are right. Actually, we probably don't need that. We could say onboarding, not screen, but onboarding slide. We remove these 2 for now. No, we can keep them. Get the naming like that. Good. And here inside we could have like content that we show. And this is maybe a content builder. Then we have here the context and yeah, build something. Or we just pass in the content as widgets. This would be also fine if it's to runtime. And then what we could do is, because I think the onboarding things look quite the same, if we look again to our presentation, that would mean we have an image on top, then we have a headline and some body text, and then we have this part. And I think We can keep this, this, and this. And even that, I guess. Okay, but I have to quickly get a new contents will be the same. Yeah, you're right. No, not necessarily the same, right? I think it will be changing the text, the headline, and the image, and everything else will be the same, like the layout of the onboarding screen. But I have to go quickly to the bathroom. We'll be back in a second. Ooh. Yep, you're right, AB. I stay on that screen quickly because, wait, can I change the text? Oh yeah, here, look at that. Oh, I'm absolutely professional YouTuber, I tell you that. So closing that, open that, be right back. So, can I also hide myself? So, I am back even. I was just quickly on the bathroom, like bio break, I think it's the name. Okay, so, what can I read here? Minu is already way ahead of its time, but yes, we can do that so that you just pass content 1, image 1, index 1. Yeah, the index, so that you, I'm not quite sure. Can we do the same thing with the dots, actually? I'm not sure with that. Because if we pass that down, we would have the active one, but then it would jump, right? We don't have a nice animation through it. So probably we would need to do that somehow in the same, like keeping it and then animate it in the first widget, if this makes sense. You think we can? We can use the, no, can we? I don't know, maybe, let's see. But I'm pretty much with you that we should create it like that we say we don't have all these widgets here because they will be the same from the onboarding. Thank you, AB, that was a very good point. And inside of here, we will use the same one. List of a widget can be max and min 0 as we increment the index so we can use it. Not sure what you mean with that, but we come to that. So first, or what it means first, next, let's have a look. Currently we don't show anything, but we want to have 3 things inside, right? And we can say it's a column, right? We have on the top one, we have this image, then we have the text with text, that dots, and another part here. Is a column the best possible way? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I think so. pass the data model in it. Since it won't be used anywhere except of landing page, good move would be making onboarding step start as a part of the landing page, wouldn't it? Very good point. I would say we could do it, but as I said, I'm always hesitant to go over 200 lines. We don't have that yet, but it goes quite quickly in Flutter to go over that extension of lines. If this happens, you are right. Usually at the moment that wouldn't be necessary. But I'm not a big fan of creating these anonymous functions inside of the Dart file where you call like render blah blah blah, render blah 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 or something. Also, it is called a bad pattern, I think, and Remy Rollet created a fantastic blog post on his blog where he wrote about why you should keep all your widgets in files and not create real widgets out of it instead of doing it in one file. So what happened? I forgot Flutter. Pass the data model into. Hey, calm down, guys. I didn't even start it yet, but you're right. It's all good. So, but at the moment I didn't forgot anything. Now we have to quickly think. I could create a data model, but is it really a data model? I mean, the content will not switch during runtime, right? So I would actually don't need that, isn't it? But quickly, let's start with the first things. And what we need is actually a column here, right? So, I mean, that is for sure, right? Everyone's driving crazy today. Okay, but where do we get these nice illustration? And I think Undraw.io is still a valid page and no way. Undraw? Was it not IO? Undraw? CO. Oh, happy days. So I really thought they removed that. That would be a shame and very sad. Hop. Getting the browser up. Here we go. Undraw CO. Exactly. So, and this nice little page here allows us to check very nice illustrations. And yes, they are quite default, and I think you probably saw them thousands of times, but it's completely free to use, and that's why I would recommend to do that. So what we can do is checking for free nice little things. So let's say we would like to create a quiz. So what could we find here? Quiz. Ah, nice little question mark. I like that. So let's download that. I don't take the SVG. The reason is Flutter is not really good in handling SVGs. At least the last time I was working on it, it was not. So maybe Minu has a different understanding of that. So let's quickly take some of these nice little images here. Download. I think online test is not nice. Quiet town transfer money, instant information. That sounds cool. Okay, let's take that too. And add these assets into our app. So let's call that step 1, step 2. What do you mean with why so? Is it not? I think Flutter has it in implementation of SVG since new times. There's that package, and I think I had a lot of problems with it. Issues, APR will be raised. SVG picture assets. Huh. Ah, no, it could be that you have already, you know, more knowledge. I don't make so much Flutter at the moment anymore. So probably you have more understanding, you know, like more understanding. That was not, oops, need a folder. So I would like to keep the assets as close as possible, but I think the reason or how it works in Flutter is that we have this asset folder, and inside of it, we usually have the files, right? And so we move them inside and we call them, these are now assets. Made here a mistake. No, step, not swap. So 1, 2, 3. And with that, we can add them to the package YAML. Perfectly perfect. Great. So, and how do we add assets anymore? How was that? I think we can see that here. Not like that. I think we have to do it underneath of Flutter, and then we have assets. And now I'm usually doing that wrong, so let me know if I do something wrong. So I think if I do it like this, the folder should be existent already. Assets to be list, but assets got a string, should be a list. Ah no, it's like this, I believe, and then assets. Let's see. He's linting the dark code. Absolutely. Okay, cool. So this was running, and now usually with that slash you say all the files that are living in this folder should be taken. So let's see if that works. So inside of our landing page we will pass in the names of the files, and here we want now to show the image. So the first thing we want is it an image? Yeah, image dot, I think we can use asset. File would come from that. Memory is if you have something stored in memory, that if like a uint8 list. Network comes from the internet. And I believe we will take asset. Cool. So the name of the image, was it, let's read quickly the documentation before I start to guess. But I think we have to add this here. Okay, got that. Icons hard PNG. Okay, so we can use now here assets. Ah, great. They are. Wow. Hey, IntelliJ made some. Wow, that's crazy. Look at that. You wantonly do it wrong. I'm so dramatic. I'm drama queen today. Okay, but we can see the image already, which is quite cool. I'm really happy with that. And because it's part of the column and we can move it, and you see now we have 3 times the same image. So that's quite boring. But what we can say is we can move that up, right? And I get here changes. Okay, do it. Don't ask me. And I think what's wrong here, convert to single quote. Okay. And I think this image asset needs to come from the parent, right? Because we cannot know exactly which image we want to show. So what we could do is we could change here the string, but that would give options to our parent. What we could do is creating an enum. And I like the idea actually. So what we have here is like, we know that there are only 3 possible values for that string, right? And if I would say now we can pass like a widget inside of it, developers could use this onboarding slide wrong. So if they, without changing the subject. So what I would like to do is creating an enum like step images names or image names. And this enum, hopefully I'm doing that wrong, right, would then contain, for example, the string. Ah, wait. In order to write stringed enums, there was a problem with Dart and Flutter. Because I get now 1, 2, and 3, I guess. And then I have to convert it again, which would be not what I want, actually. But I could create an extension then for this enum. So my problem, or what I would like to do in, for example, in JS or the JavaScript, you can create these enums, and then you have like a string inside where you pass that in, and the next string and the next string. And Dart is not able to do that, right? We have not the option to have this possibility. But what we could do is have, like, for example, name things, I guess. And then it is the number. So this is now 1, and I think step 2 and step 3. And I believe we can, why is it yellow? Lower camel case, okay, fair enough. So step 1, step 2, step 3. But I think we lose the benefit of that. But it's like avoiding the user to expand it. Your enum.name as file name. Yeah. your enum.name, what would that mean? So if I use that, I cannot use it here, right? So like that dot step 1. So we have this enum with our steps 1, 2, 3. And I believe they have now numbers, right? I cannot set them. String enums. Dart. Obvious. From string. So visibility from string. First where? Okay. Apple and banana to string. Nice, there are coming already the first implementations. App asset static, my asset. Very good idea, Ada. I like that. That's much better than the enum. I could do that. Step 1, step 2. I could also do that. I like both ideas. What like more? Like we could create a static method inside of a class that returns us the correct one. And then we have like constants file, right? So I guess I will do both cases just to show what we could do. So we have, for example, step 1, step 2, step 3. This is what Minu sets right now, right? So with these, we could use the names directly. So we could use imageid.name. I think we can use that one and then say down here, oops, like this, dot step 1, and then say name. And I think with name, we get a string validation from it back. So with that, we could have that we pass in this enum. So giving that up like that. Okay, so we receive that from the parent, and the parent would say which image this is. So we need this step name, this dot step name, step image name, something like that. And this is, nope, we need this part, final bob, step image name. Now this is clear, and here we take that dot name. This can be gone. Good. Now probably, what is your problem? Before sort constructed, okay. Cool. So this would make it, well, we would order that by here. The only downside that I see here, the names of the enums have to be specified the same way. And as you already see, we get compiler errors. Now I need to change the file names. And also it's quite heavy to change, because if the file names change, I will have to change the enum. I have to make sure that everything works still the same. And that could lead to problems. So that's why I really like the idea of the constants that Ada wrote. And what we would do for that is creating a class like step image, step images. And inside of this class, we have static methods like step 1. And here inside, we just pass in the whole string for assets and the name. I could remove that, for example, getting this asset part, and say here really step 1. So is that correct? Static, why is it complaining? Okay, it's a string. Yeah, fair enough. Can do that. We convert that. And then we have step 2 and step 3. And we have also hidden away the... So. And now what we get from the parent is this part. Step image path is that, right? Or the step image asset path, something like that. Replace that. And here, down here, we can just replace it with this. Why is it not working? Can't be assigned to parameter type string, step images. No, you don't get step images. You get a string, actually. But now I have the problem that I cannot say that it should be from this value here. Hey Hamish, long time no see. Hope you're well. So the bitrate was down. I'm sorry, the stream dropped, I guess. Crazy. Hamish is here and the stream is dropping. Okay, the only downside is that now I cannot use these as mandatory, so I cannot block it on the other hand. So is now the enum better or is now the constant better? Step image, step 1. Yes, I know how to fill that, but look, what I could do is wherever this is used, I could say, okay, here is now my, I don't even have that. So the first thing is just any string. So assets dot something. So now it will show something completely different. But what I wanted to actually achieve is like using the static method that I'm not even allowed to use something different. And I think now the enum would be a bit more, or it would be a bit better, because for everyone who is using the onboarding slide, it is absolutely clear what he has to use. And string is like everything, right? Can I could create an alias, would be also an option. No, but I think still that the enum would be the best solution right now because of that. I mean, this is very, very, very strict and maybe not even necessary, but it's just important to keep it in mind. Is learning about Router 2.0 worth it rather than using Navigator key? That depends. If you are working on web applications, for example, I would recommend you to take a look into Router 2.0. But instead of taking a look into 2.0, what you can do is also checking different packages like Beamer or things like that. But learning is always a good thing, so highly recommended to at least take a look into it. I'm offline. What is going on? My stream is driving crazy. No. I am inside with Wi-Fi. Why I'm inside with Wi-Fi? For what do I have cables? Do I get now? Give me a second. I just quickly hack my internet connection with a real cable. I get like good connection here, hopefully. And then it could be that I could shortly drop out of the stream. I'm very sorry for that. I didn't know. Why do I not connect? What is going on? Somehow I don't get the connection. What is wrong? I am not. The main thing is I learned from a friend of mine that I should always make sure that the internet connection is good. You are most welcome. That's great. These are the feedback that I need, actually. That's why I'm doing all that stuff. I'd make it as abstract because you made it abstract. What was your solution actually? You have an abstract class app assets, static const my asset, path, okay. Then you could make something like that, image asset. Interesting. I mean, if this class is abstract or not, shouldn't be a problem. Okay, but I think we use too much time for a problem that maybe doesn't even exist. So what we can do is we keep it for now, and let's be happy that we have at least one solution. But in general, I would probably have made it with a enum, so that to make sure that we don't provide any option other than this. So how do we come back? Like this, we use this class saying we want step 1 here. And for the second one, we use this one. And for the third one, this one, 2 and 3. So why is it now red? Probably because we have not imported it yet. A value of type null can't be assigned to type string in a const constructor. Try using a subtype or removing const. Is this the problem? Or yeah, fine. Cleaning that up, and with that we should have already our 3 images running here. 1, 2, 3, great. Okay, now we can see that they are all different sizes. That's maybe a problem, so I would recommend to change that. So inside of this asset image we probably have width and height. Can we also say max height? No. So let's say the height is 300. And let's see how that behaves. Okay, way better. Obviously, this needs to be responsive, right? If we have different screen sizes and things, we would have to do something about it, because you see here it looks very stupid, and yeah. But I think for now we are fine by keeping it for 300 at the moment. And yeah, whenever we need it, we can change that then. And what I would like to know is, can we set this image? We have that. And if we take a look into how we want to implement it actually, do we have that here? So we would like to have the image, and then underneath of it, we want to have this line directly underneath of the image. I would do that with a border. I think that's the easiest possibility here. So what can we do? Is there... Yeah, I think we would like to take this part, making a container surrounding it, and then have a decoration. Box decoration. The decoration is there for making something beautiful, right? So we can change the color and the behavior and things like that. And in our case, we would like to have a border. Box border dot or border. And can we say all from side border? This is for everything. Border side dot non-merge. What do we get here? Color. Okay. And this is for the side. How was it with the border? Can we... here was it. Perfect. So if we pass inside the border, we don't want to have top, right, bottom. We want just to switch bottom. And border side, and this we can now set up ourselves, right? Border side dot up. And with the creation, we can pass in the color, the width, and the style. And I think we didn't need anything of that at the moment. Now we get that fine line. Hey there, Vedant. You want to have an Amplify GraphQL and in-depth tutorial. Gonna be a lot of things inside of that. I can take a look into and hope that I can find something, but I will take it into my list, and if I have the time, I will try to provide you something, and hopefully it will help you. I think I made already something for Amplify, so probably this could already help you, but it's not in depth, like with everything inside. So we can see the line, but we see also on the second screen, it is not fully there. And the problem is that the image has a height of 100, but the container surrounding it is not full width. So how can we make that? I think by stretching the column here. So we have the column has this main axis and this cross axis. So we want to have the cross axis alignment stretch. Perfect. So as you can see now, thanks to the stretching of the column, we have now full space and the line is going through, like following all the images. So we have more questions. Tip: actual linters usually suggest to replace container by decoration box when there is only decoration property and its child, of course. Hey, very good tip. Amazing. This is what the things that I need, like the perfect tips for everyone. Decorated box, you mean, right? Great stuff. So we just have decoration and child. What do you say? Actual linters. Do you have a good meaning for that? So you don't like the one from the very good analysis, I guess. If you have a better linter, please let me know. Ada. Sounds great. Something like that is really cool. Cool. But now we have that line. Ooh, what is that now? What? What is that? That looks like a bug, or? Interesting, the container is above and the decorated box is underneath of it. So... Sorry, I've never had that, so that's why I find that so interesting. Okay, cool. But that means we don't have a chance to do something here. So I would say we keep for now the container just because it's easier for me. Because the image itself, so if I would do it now properly, and thank you Deepak for joining, it was amazing. Till the next time. So, oh, a lot of browsers going up, sorry for that. Back here and here. But interesting to know that the decoration container has there an option, and I would also prefer that. But if there is now a problem with the image, we keep it for now like that. But as you can see now, if we swipe here, we have always this continuous line, and I think that's pretty cool. So let's have quickly a look into our design. So a lot of here was not really darkish, it was more this purple flavor, I want to say. And I think I have a cool tool called Color Slurp. And with that one, which makes also super nice sounds, we can directly get the correct color code. And I would like that our border has exactly the same color as that. So, because this is going now into theming, what we usually, or what I usually do, is having some kind of theme class. And I will add that into the app part, because as you remember, here inside we have the accent colors, for example. So what we will do is inside of the app, we create a new file called themes, or theme.dart. And inside of here, I would like to keep all the colors and things like that. So how can we provide the colors correctly? Inside of our app, we have the theming with the accent color. And here we could probably provide this number. And with that, why is the delegate not working? I have to run probably the L10N generator. Okay. Quite a lot of problems at the moment in our project. It's not very nice. Let's quickly run everything. And after that, maybe also run the... did I run pubget? Yeah. Good. Okay. And also there is a cool plugin, if you check that, and there is one for localization for L10N. So I have installed that. It's Flutter Intel, which directly creates you the ARP files and things. So also a very useful tool if you want to install everything directly with localization. Okay, I saw right now that there we have already the color scheme inside and the theme data. And at the moment we just use the default part. So what we could do is, should I do that? No, I would say we keep it for now here before we start the next big project. And let's just try to get the accent color from here. So in order to do that, we want to change the color here actually, right? So the color here should be color 0xFF for no opacity. And then we want to have this. If I would do that now like this, we would have to define everywhere the color. And if I have to change this color at some times in the future, we would have to do it across the whole application and would take hours to really find every spot where we have used it. And that we don't want to do. So what we can do is we can access the theme data dot, and I think, was it theme data from? And then we can, no, wait. Well, theme of context. And with that, we have access to the different things, like for example, the color scheme, which gives us the accent, right? Accent, no. How is it defined here? So color scheme from swatch, accent color, or accent color. How can we access it? You have an exam, so enjoy. Good luck. All fingers crossed for that. So theme, color scheme, and how do I get now background brightness on background? Inverse primary, copy of, on secondary, primary, secondary surface. Interesting. So I'm a bit confused now. So why do we set this from swatch? What does it do? Take the primary color, accent color, and this is now the secondary color. If accent color is dark, primary swatch, what? Color secondary, this one, or not. If this is null, then one of these colors. Okay, so we want to take secondary. So back to our problem. So here we want to have that. So in our build we say theme of context dot secondary. No, color scheme dot secondary, and this should be our color that we would like to use here. So we can replace that, and that should do the trick. How you make dark modes in your app? I have actually done a topic for that. Thank you, Adada. The dark theme you can do with a basic provider, and if you have something like this dark theme, you could have like two different themes, like light theme, light theme, where you have, for example, theme data dot off, or I think, give me a second. So I think we need theme, no, it was theme data, and then you have the different light and dark modes, and then you can make a copy of or copy with, and then you can pass in your own colors. And you can decide between dark and light, right? And with that, you have already the default values that you can use. So with that, you are pretty much ready to start with your dark and light mode. The only thing you have to do then is to switch here in your theme data, this one, between light and dark. So if I go here and say now dark, and copy with, wait, what I'm doing wrong. Dark execute dot copy with. So perfect. So reformatting everything, but as you see now, the app looks completely different already. So the only thing that you have to change is actually the value that you pass into this theme part. And with that, if you re-render everything, then you have the different color setting. So, but we don't want to have it dark, so we make it light again. And with that, it's white again. Hope that was explainable. Okay. Good. So we have the image, we have some space, and I see another problem at the moment, and that is save area. If we take a look into, we have up top here, even though we cannot see it good, but if, for example, here, the image goes through the notch, and we don't want that, right? Because it's ugly. So we have to wrap our landing page with a so-called save area. And the save area does exactly that. It removes the spots on top here. But now something weird happens. It's getting dark and black down here and down there. And the reason for that is that there is no material widget inside of that. So that means it will automatically take the color black. So what we could do is we remove once more this widget and surrounding the part inside with save area. and voila, everything got white again with a white background. But the content itself is now right underneath of the notch, and we have enough space in all directions. Good. Oh, I have something to drink. Lucky me. So, with that, you can create your own images and all that kind of stuff. We have these parts inside, and that looks already pretty cool. So, but now next steps, I would like to get at least one of these screens ready. So we have this image, we have this container, and we have a column already. So then let's say we have a second part, right? And this will be now this headline text and this second line text. So we have a headline text and a second line text. So what we can do is saying text. And for now, we just take the same quick and easy payments, like that. Quick and easy quizzes. So, and the second part is like a little bit longer, multi-line. So what can we do? Text quizzes for everyone, but mostly for amazing Flutter developers who cannot get enough of Flutter knowledge. By the way, Flutter rules. So with that, we have a very long text here. Clean that a little bit up. I think we cannot, so we can also keep that like that. Good. And as you can see, they are pretty much the same at the moment, which is kind of boring. And in order to change that, we can also here say we want to use style. And because we don't want to define now the whole text style and everything that is inside of it, what we can do is also rely on our theme again. We can say context. And here inside, we should have some text style or text theme. And if we check that, we find body, large, medium, display, large, medium. And if you think about where comes these namings from, that you can find if you are checking for material UI. Material IO, I guess. Yeah, perfect. And here inside, you will find different versions. The material IO, and then you have here material free. And if you check that, it's M3 material IO, then you find underneath of typography, apply and scaling, you find all these parts: display, large, medium, small, headline, small, large, medium, small, and so on and so forth. And this is exactly what we need now. So we don't want to have a display, right? It would be too big, I guess. Or maybe in small, we could use it. But I think headline is more or less what we want, right? Expressive style can be used headline styles as well. Good. Going back here and say headline. And now we can choose between the old material 2 way with these names, or the material free names, and I take now the headline medium. So, fair enough. And the good thing is, if we do it all now with this theme off like we do here, we now have to change it only once in the theme data, in the theme Dart later on. And inside of there, we can then change it and optimize it as we would like to have it. We take a look here. We have now a beautiful naming. Can also check a little bit how the other headline's looking. So if we make it large, or if we make it headline small, and you can see all the different nuances. And for now, we would say, is headline small quite nice? I think so. It comes very close to our solution that we would like to have, right? It's maybe a bit more bold, but I think that's all the things that we can later change in the theme. Okay. And last but not least, we have the bottom part, and here we have just like body. So also here we have style, and we take again the theme.off context, and we take the text theme, and we take body, for example, let's keep it medium for now. Okay, let's see. Medium, what do we have else? Body large. It's more thick. Okay, body small, and this is completely off. Okay, so body medium it is, and this is the winner. So now we have the text for all three widgets, right? So wherever we navigate, it's always the same, and that's pretty ugly. What we want is we would like to switch this part, and this needs to be changeable. So also here we would like to get a text, and where we want to get it from the parent. So whoever uses this onboarding slide. So how can we do that? We define first a variable, final string. How do we call it? Headline text. Final string body text. And now instead of, I could now pass it here inside, but I think one of them can be also empty. So we don't necessarily need a body text, in my opinion. And what that means is inside of here, we would then have the possibility to say, okay, there is a headline text, but there is also a body text. Why was there a key question mark, I guess? Like this. So why does that not work? Headline text. Because it's required. So because we have null safety, right? So this part is null safe because we need a setted string here, or else it will break. Okay. What is wrong here? Missing required trailing comma. All right. Like this. Okay, fair enough. Good. So the image is mandatory, and I don't provide people with an aspect what they have to provide. So they don't, if you are using it, you can see we can pass it directly in. Yay, Indian bots. What? So let me quickly check. So we have the text now, and here we can pass in now the right texts that we need. That's a very good point, Ada. I did not thought about that yet, but this would be exactly what we would do now. Because what I don't like is that we have everything inside of here. And as you see, the strings can get very long, and also it's not really translatable. So inside of our ARP files, we have English translations, and we can see it's already defined as English, and we have translations for counter app bar title. And these are like metadata about this translation. Good. So how does that look for us? We would have like onboarding. How can we define the names or the keys best? Of course, this is used, or for which context it is used. In our case, that would be authentication. Next would be which screen is using it, like landing. And last but not least, we want to define the specific place where it is used, like headline 1 or headline step 1, something like that. And I think with that we are pretty specific where this translation lives. And then we can say quick and easy quizzes. So, and we can do that with step 2 and 3 same wise, right? 2 and 3. And let's take the translations quickly from here. Smart point of sale. Smart point of sale. We will do that, of course, with a better translation whenever we have the time. And instant notification. Good. Next part, we need domain, landing. Also a good option. Yep, Ada, makes sense, I guess. I think everyone has his own convention. To take the screens has a problem if you are using, for example, common things, like things that are always used. And also, what I learned in the long run is usually you are very happy to add keys to the ARP file, but it's usually that we forget or we don't think about to remove them later on. Even though it's not really really a problem, but yeah, just to keep that as in mind. But I never had a problem with the ARP files actually. The translation was never a problem, let's say it this way. Grow your business. No. We provide, oh wait, I made already a fantastic text. Let's copy that. So, cool. So, and here we have also 2 and 3. Lorem, and this is also good. Now let's get to lorem ipsum. My favorite, let's say it this way, my favorite generator in the World Wide Web is the lorem ipsum generator, which provides you with a small paragraph of things. So I can say here, I want to have 2 paragraphs, and I receive now 2 of these fantastic paragraphs here. But this is actually way too much for me. I just need like 1 sentence or something. Is there not a possibility? I think they're even smaller ones. Oh yeah, perfect. So I just get this one, pass that in here, and also for the third one, can pass it in. So with that, we have our translations. That works. Fine, fine, fine. So, and what we have to do now, we could do that, of course, for all translations, right? So if we have the same, if we would have, I have no idea about Spanish, so I will delete that. But what I have a knowledge about is German. So app.de.arp, not arg. Jeez, Max, arp. So, and what we do is we copy the whole thing, and say de. I think the counterpart we don't really need. Schnelle und einfache Quizze. So, I was never very good in translating stuff. So, intelligente point of sales is like Zeitpunkt des Kaufes. Let's keep it like that. I mean, it doesn't have to be a very good translation, right? And schnelle Notifikation. All right, keep that. And now what we need to do, L10N does need to be built at build time. So I hope I have the Flutter Intel. So how does that work? I think if we start the app, it will automatically run the build for that. Isn't it? Wait, let's quickly check how the L10N works again. Up. So L10 gen flutter. So pub.dev. First install L10N. No, I don't think so. How was it with the generation? Or was it just if I run the app, it will automatically generate the translations? And if so, they are in the dev tools, gen L10N. There is, it's already created. Look at that. It's faster than I thought. So you just have to add them in the ARP file. It's automatically created. Good. So how can we use that now? We use it by using the app localization, right? So maybe I shouldn't have deleted the counter example, then we could just copy it from there. And I think why add required headline text, yep. And now, yes, but how can I use the texts now? I think I need to take localization. Localizations delegate, local, what do I get here? From subtag. Nope. Localization delegate. What do I get here? Okay, you see, this is if you don't work with the documentation. So let's see quickly. Flutter internationalization. So, and here what you will learn, blah, 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 introduction, using that, we have that. Oh, we have to add the supported language. Forgot about that. So inside of here, we have that already. That's part of the generation. Great. So we don't have to do that. And how do we use the file now? Hello world, blah, blah, blah. App localization of context. Great. So here we will have app localizations. So import that probably. Jawohl. Dot of context. And then we can use the value that we want. Perfect. Okay, so here we want to have the headline of the first step, right? Got that. And the second part is the body text, where we have again the app localization of context and using domain landing body first. So now you could say, boah, this is a lot of text and things, and I agree, we should stretch that out, that we have these occurrences somewhere here where we can say localizations. And with that, we reduce a little bit the lines of code. What is that? Twitter is something I finally achieved, forgot to very long back. Okay. Is it okay if I share it? Mino, probably, because you shared it. Vodafone, what? Ah, the ad sign company. Flutter tip. Did you know you can customize Flutter red screen of death? What? Error widget builder, really? Know how it went, how amazing is that? I love it. Never seen that before. Cool. Okay, I will just copy that over. We use it now here and here. And we will replace 2 and 2 and 3 and 3. So it's like a little bit of handiwork, but done. And nothing works, of course. So why is that the case? Obviously, because we forgot to replace it. So we have the headline text. And clean that a bit up. I think we don't need that, or no. And here, this is the body text. And now it's getting a little bit interesting. The reason is this body text could be null. And now I could do something like that. But actually also that would not be sufficient, I guess, because if it's an empty string, we do not even want to render this text part. So what we could do is, instead of making this, we could say body text equals empty string, or is empty, I guess is easier, dot is empty. Then then we show in text. Or let's make it is not empty, and then this, else we return null. Does that work? No, I think we have to provide a value, so we take an empty container, and instead of an empty container, we use size box. Is not empty replaced? Ah, if the body text is empty, is empty. Is that possible with a null? No, it's also not possible. Then that means something like this. If it is null, then we want to return a sized box. Else we return a text. Does also not work. Hey, the element object can't be assigned to list type widget. Is not, or first check null and is empty. I'm a bit confused right now. He says that this is not possible, so we have this list. Ah, yeah, cool. So we have to create a method here. Whoops. So. Could you please? I want to have you as a method. No, can't do that. So like get body text widget. Create a method, and here we want to check that. And what we say is if body text is null, wait, just 2, null, then we want to return, we just say return, and else we return the text widget. And here we return a widget. And if we do that, this is not possible then. And this wants to have the context, and here is the body text. Can't be assigned a type string, but we check against null. Yeah, you're right, with is empty and question mark. If this is true, no, it's can't be used as a condition. Yeah, that's true. So body text null and or body text is empty. Now it should be there. Then return a text with nothing inside or with a size box. Constant. Good. So else here the body text should be defined, right? He doesn't understand this, unluckily. So do I have to make this now an exclamation mark? I'm not really happy with that, but seems like that. And we need to have the context here. No, we just take the text style as an entity. Boop, boop, boop. Was I not able to use these if functions directly here in that place? Yeah, I can. So if this is true, return a size box. And I think I don't have to return it, right? I can just do it like that. And then we have like this else part. Yay! Yeah, perfect. Sorry. As always, I need a second. I'm a bit longer, slowly on the live stream. So I forgot a bracket, of course, and there is still a missing trailing comma. All right, get that. Cool. And the same thing like we did with the localization we can do here. We can just use this text theme and replace the occurrences and call it text theme. I think that should work. And with that, we have smaller widgets. Also here we can select that. And I think if I remove this, we can make the whole part a little bit cleaner. Same here. And save some lines. Good. Hey, Minu, you are so fast. Jeez. Yeah, you are commenting. Yeah. Ah, this Wi-Fi. Screw you, Wi-Fi. I'm so sorry. To really check out why the internet connection is, why my cable is not working. It's really annoying. Ah, well, the next live stream I will be prepared. Good, but now, did that work? No, it still doesn't, so why not? Let's hot restart quickly and see. It seems that the start was broken. Oh, there are some issues. Interesting. What do we have? One untranslated message. Okay, this would generate a JSON format container. DE one untranslated message. It makes sense because in English we have this counter app part, and in German we don't have that. And why it was complaining is because English is our main fallback language. And so what it says is if there is a string that is not consistent in a DE, then it will break automatically. So it tries to be very smart. And actually it is. Good tooling, I tell you. Best part ever. So, but we see also that our test folder is currently red. Also have to improve that. But let's quickly wait until this is built. Wow. The M1 Mac has started its ventilator. I think that is a long time ago that I heard that the last time. But I think Xcode is the one that kills it. So, and then I think we still have to do some kind of things, right? What would be the next part? We need to have these dots and we want to have this button. But I believe this is a topic for the next live stream. I'm not sure if we can manage to create all of that today. But I want to invest this time, a lot of time, to make it really beautiful, because I tell you, I want to have that. Yeah, it's buffering and I'm very sorry for that, Minu. That's because I'm with Wi-Fi and my internet connection cable is not taken into account. Don't know what I can do against it. Or it buffers because of the building of Xcode at the moment. So now it should be unbuffered, hopefully. So, but now we see we have text and we have this wipeable gesture part. Turn off Wi-Fi. I did that the last time and suddenly I was away, you remember? And the problem is, if you check the internet connection here, you can see that my LAN cable is not connected. But anyway, next time. Cool. We have now this, and I think I like the idea that everything is now so smooth scrollable. That looks quite cool. And the next part will be to have the lower part running and make this a bit more beautiful, using the right text fonts and using it a little bit more spacing, and have just everything aligned in the center. Even though I think we can do that, right? I think to make it centered, we can do today, right? We have 3 minutes to make it centered. So let's see, we have the onboarding slide. Here, containers, headlines, text small. How can I do it? Is it an alignment? Text align dot center. Let's see if this is correct. Wow, I did it. Woo! Underneath of 3 minutes. Yes, perfect. Great stuff. And Minu knew it before me. Good, we found the right places. Now we need some space, I think. Here we could have some space, right? So between the headline and the container, we would like to have a sized box where we can say the height should be something. So, and we can have here like, this is now something I would do in a separate file, like a constant file, but we do it anyway now here once, and then we change it. And I would call it 24. It's like, and why 24? It's like 4 times 8. 8, 16, 32. I'm completely done. So even my knowledge about maths is gone. So cool, but with that we have some spacing here, and we can do that quite easily at the second time. And we could say we have here also such a spacing. Not that big, and we just say twice, something like that. You say padding is needed. Where do we need a padding? I don't see it. Ah, you mean a padding surrounding the text. Yeah, we could also do that, but because we have it in a column, I think that's the, well, easier solution and lightweight one, because it doesn't pollute the widget tree too much. And then we have another widget where we have the dots then. But this is then really a topic for the next time. But I would say we already made quite some improvements here. Great stuff. Okay, let's, shall we share that? Do you like to have that on GitHub? Are you interested? Maybe adding some comments if I made stupid stuff. So I shared it on GitHub. Do loading account information. So we call it NWooBee, correct? So description, it's a Flutter quiz app. Yeah, I think that's it. Share. And what happens now? It's creating all the things, and then what do I read? Main axis alignment center. So you would like to have starting from the center of the cross edge. Can do that. Let's see. I have still some time. So main axis alignment.center. And nah, maybe later. Okay, so we have that, it's published. So, and the next time maybe we'll write some tests and fix this test folder because it drives me nuts that it's not working correctly. All right, I cannot wait to see you on next Thursday again. Thank you so much for joining. Feel free to check out Flutter Explained. As I said, I write at the moment a lot of blog posts and hope I can post them more and more. And feel free to see that. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out on Twitter. Thank you for watching tonight. I hope you learned something. I learned a lot, and we see us the next time. Thank you very much, and till next Thursday. Bye. Contact me. All right. All right.